You're watching TAG TV.
Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Here are the top stories we're tracking for you on Tuesday, the 4th of September. Floods cripple normal life in northern India. Four security personnel injured in terror attack in India's Jammu and Kashmir. And Afghan Taliban announces death of Haqqani network founder. And now for all the details. Floods continue to affect normal life in India's northern Uttar Pradesh province on Tuesday. Authorities said at least 12 deaths have been reported in the last 24 hours in the province, where hundreds of houses have been damaged. A flood alert has also been issued across the province till September 6th.
Floods on Tuesday affected the normal lives of people in various districts of India's northern Uttar Pradesh province. The level of water is witnessing an increase in the rivers with each passing day. Issues like fallen electric poles and potholes have damaged the roads, making commute difficult for locals. Villagers have been forced to move to higher grounds to take shelter during the havoc.
पानी बहुत तेजी से बढ़ रहा है। हम लोग अपना पोथी पत्रा सब बक्सा सामान सब लेकर ऊपर भाग रहे हैं। अगर हम लोग नहीं लेके जाएंगे तो यहाँ डूब जाएगा, हम लोग सब रोजी रोटी चली जाएगी।
The road connecting Moradabad city in Uttar Pradesh and neighbouring hill town of Nainital in Uttarakhand province has been severely affected. The floods have wreaked havoc in Uttar Pradesh merely days after southern Kerala province faced the devastating deluge which left hundreds dead and thousands displaced.
बहुत जो है आदमी गांव में जो है परेशानी है, जहाँ जो है लोग परेशान हैं, सवारी भी परेशान है, बहुत दिक्कत बहुत क्या है, आने जाने वालों के लिए बहुत बड़ी समस्या है, जहाँ सड़कें टूट गई हैं, रास्ते सब बंद हैं.
Annual rainfall is essential in India as rains support 2/3 of the 1.25 billion population living in rural areas who rely on farming. But excessive rainfalls cause problems like floods, landslide and waterborne diseases.
Four security personnel were injured after terrorists hurled a grenade at a patrolling party in Supor town of India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province on Tuesday. The injured personnel were immediately admitted to the hospital and were said to be stable. A search operation has been launched to nab the terrorist involved.
Four security personnel were injured in a terror attack in Supor town of India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province on Tuesday. Terrorists hurled grenade at the patrolling party of the paramilitary Central Reserve Police Force, resulting in injuries to four security personnel. They were immediately rushed to the hospital for treatment and their condition was reportedly stable. Security forces have cordoned the region and have launched a search operation to nab the terrorists. India accuses Pakistan of regularly arming and infiltrating terrorists across the border to spread unrest in the Kashmir Valley. Pakistan denies the allegations.
And moving on, fresh protests have erupted across Gilgit-Baltistan and Pakistan-administered Kashmir for the immediate release of activist Baba Jan. The protesters said Baba Jan was recently acquitted by a court in a case brought by the state of Pakistan against him, but wasn't released from the prison.
Protests are being held across Pakistan-administered Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan for the immediate release of political activist Baba Jan, who was recently acquitted by the Hunza court in a case brought by the state of Pakistan against him but wasn't released from the prison. The case was filed against Baba Jan for raising the issue of illegal allotment of marble mines to Chinese companies in Hunza Valley of Gilgit-Baltistan. Members of the Awami Workers' Party also raised their voices in solidarity with the jailed activist and asserted that Baba Jan is not one person but everyone represents Baba Jan.
मैं इस अवाम दुश्मन एस्टेब्लिशमेंट को यहाँ पे इस फ्लोर पे बताना चाहता हूँ कि बाबा जान एक फर्द का नाम नहीं है, यहाँ हम सब बाबा जान हैं।
Babajan and two other youth activists from Hunza were convicted in August 2011 by an anti-terrorism court for participating in a mass movement against the government. They were seeking compensation in the wake of a landslide in January 2010, which killed several people and rendered around 500 homeless. Time and again, the issue of Babajan and other political activists has been raised at international platforms, but Islamabad continues to mistreat people under Schedule 4 of the Anti-Terrorism Act.
And in news from Afghanistan, Jalaluddin Haqqani, founder of the militant Haqqani network, one of the most powerful and feared groups in the Afghan insurgency, has died after a long illness, the Taliban announced on Tuesday. Haqqani, who founded the network in the 1970s, relinquished operational leadership of the group some years ago to his son, Sirajuddin Haqqani, who is now deputy leader of the Afghan Taliban. He rose to prominence as a guerrilla leader in the US-backed campaign against Soviet forces occupying Afghanistan, but later allied himself with the Taliban fighting American troops after the Taliban were ousted in 2001. His group became known for complex, well-organized attacks on both Afghan and US military as well as civilian targets and high-profile kidnappings. The Taliban said he had been ill and bedridden for several years. Afghanistan's Ministry of Public Health on Monday said at least 34 people have died across the country due to Congo fever in the past 5 months. According to the World Health Organization, hemorrhagic fever has a 10 to 40% fatality rate.
At least 34 people have died and 250 have been treated in Afghanistan for Congo fever in the past 5 months, Afghan Ministry of Public Health said on Monday. According to the World Health Organization, the tick-borne virus, Crimean Congo hemorrhagic fever, known as Congo fever, has a 10 to 40% fatality rate.
از شروع اول حمل 1397 الی امروز اکنون که تاریخ 12 اسد است، تقریبا در حدود 169 نفر مریض از زمین سبب مرض کانگو به شفاخانه ما مراجعه کردند.
دسترسی داشته باشد امرای میگو گاو بسفام چیزایی
Congo fever causes severe viral hemorrhagic fever outbreaks. It is primarily transmitted to the people from ticks and livestock animals. Human-to-human transmission can occur resulting from close contact with blood, secretions, organs, or other bodily fluids of infected persons. There is no vaccine available for either people or animals. The symptoms include sudden fever, muscle ache, dizziness, neck pain and stiffness, backache, headache, sore eyes and sensitivity to light. There may be nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, abnormal pain and sore throat early on.
More news from Afghanistan. Election watchdogs and observers in Afghanistan have predicted deadlock around the country's upcoming polls, citing electoral fraud, security threats as key factors to impact the process. This came at a time when some of the country's mainstream political parties last week revealed thousands of fake IDs of voter cards.
Election watchdogs and observers in Afghanistan on Monday said the country's upcoming parliamentary and next year's presidential polls are facing serious challenges. This comes at a time when some of the country's mainstream political parties last week revealed thousands of fake IDs and books of stickers for voter cards. Afghanistan's Independent Election Commission has also confirmed it is facing challenges but dismissed claims that they could prevent elections from being held on time.
از حکومت، کمیسیون‌های انتخاباتی، احزاب و جریان‌های سیاسی می‌خواهیم که مشترکاً روی پروسه بایومتریک رای دهندگان به منظور شفافیت هرچی بیشتر پروسه انتخابات کار کنند.
According to the election monitoring groups, the Afghan government and the Election Commission's failure to ensure transparency around the upcoming parliamentary elections could result in a crisis for Afghanistan. Afghanistan will witness the parliamentary and districts councils election in October this year and presidential election next year.
An application to book shikara houseboats on the iconic Dal Lake has been developed by a group of students in India's Jammu and Kashmir province. The application has the details of all the shikara owners and is expected to help both the riders and the owners. For nearly a century, the hand-carved houseboats bobbing on the placid lake have drawn scores of visitors to the stunningly beautiful Kashmir Valley.
Eight Kashmiri students have developed an application to book a shikara boat ride at the iconic Dal Lake in India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province. The students studying at the Aryans College in India's Chandigarh city have named the application Aryans Shikara app. The application, which has details of all the shikara owners, is expected to help both the riders and the owners.
जैसे कि हम लोगों ने कंसिडर किया हमारे कश्मीर के हालात एंड मोर वो जो शिकारा ओनर्स है ये लोग दिन भर ऐसे ही बैठे होते हैं, तो हम लोगों ने सोचा हम लोग इनके लिए कुछ करें. बाहर तो पढ़ने गए हैं लेकिन हम लोगों ने सोचा हम पहले सब अपने कश्मीर को ही करें, इसको बेटर वे में मतलब रिप्रेजेंट करें. सो इसलिए हमने ये ऐप हमारे मतलब शिकारा ओनर्स के लिए बनाया है.
देखिए जो ऐप है हमने टूरिज़्म को कंसिडर करके, यहाँ के हालात को कंसिडर करके, क्योंकि बाहर से बहुत टूरिस्ट आते हैं यहाँ पे आके, पता नहीं होता है डल कहाँ पे या मैप्स जो भी है उनको कुछ मालूम ही नहीं होता या रेट के बारे में मालूम नहीं होता.
Tourists visiting the iconic Dal Lake will now be able to choose the gate and owner of the shikara boat well in advance of their tour. Shikara owners can also have the choice to accept or reject the bookings. For nearly a century, the hand-carved houseboats bobbing on the placid lake have drawn scores of visitors to the stunningly beautiful Himalayan region of Kashmir.
Exiled Tibetans in India's northern Himachal Pradesh province offered prayers for the long life of their spiritual leader Dalai Lama on Monday. Over 4,000 people, including monks, exiled Tibetans and foreign nationals, gathered at the main Buddhist temple in the town and offered the special prayers.
Exiled Tibetans in India's northern hill town of Dharamshala offered prayers on Monday for the long life of their spiritual leader Dalai Lama. Over 4,000 people, including monks, exiled Tibetans and foreign nationals, gathered at the main Buddhist temple in the town and offered special prayers during the ceremony. Dalai Lama fled into exile in India more than 5 decades ago following a failed uprising against the Chinese rule. He still exerts considerable religious authority over many of the 6 million ethnic Tibetans living within China's borders.
I'm here to share with everybody to offer to request His Holiness to stay in the world as long as possible, to help everyone to for a better world and for the betterment of humanity. So we're making a kind of request for His Holiness to stay with us and to teach us and guide us as long as possible.
Dalai Lama denies espousing violence and says he only wants genuine autonomy for Tibet. He has been conferred a Nobel Peace Prize, a Templeton Prize and many honorary degrees and other awards.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude, the top stories once again. Floods cripple normal life in northern India. Four security personnel injured in terror attack in India's Jammu and Kashmir. An Afghan Taliban announces death of Haqqani network founder. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Good night.